What's up, YouTube land? Xeno Gaming back with episode number 11 of my F1 2020 My Team series here today for the French Grand Prix at Circuit Paul Ricard. Coming off what was a pretty good Canadian Grand Prix scoring points. I think scoring points is the maximum we can achieve, and we did that last time out in Canada. So yeah, looking forward to this next race here in France. You can see on the performance chart, some other teams have made some upgrades and we've slipped back to the 10th best car, but it's very, very close. At Renault, actually, the 8th car in the pack here. Racing Point got a little bit of an edge compared to the other midfield teams, but from Alfa Romeo down to ourselves, it is all very close. So it just depends on what weekend a car brings an upgrade package. You can see, though, at the top, Mercedes has a clear advantage over Ferrari, who then have a clear advantage over Red Bull. But when it comes to our midfield fight, it just seems on any given weekend, whoever brings a good upgrade package could be on top. So anyway, moving forward now to this weekend here at France. It could be a tough weekend. We've got a wet qualifying on our hands, wet FP3 as well, so that could be interesting to see. As you can see here now, qualifying raining, but it is going to dry out as we go further on into the session, and we are expecting as well a dry race, so very interesting to see how that all plays out. We're going to chuck on the intermediate tyres, and we're going to put a bit of fuel in the car, and we're just going to do some laps, and the ERS is fine. You can do multiple laps. I think you can do about 4 or 5 laps before you need to recharge the battery, so you can keep just lapping here in these conditions. And so last lap was our first lap. This is our second lap. We don't improve on our second lap. As you can see, the rain's still coming down, but by the time we get to our next lap, you can see the rain has well and truly stopped. We've got a car behind us, not sure who it is, as we actually lose the back end. I almost put it in the barrier here, and that was actually, it looked like a Ferrari. We went again around another lap on the same set of tyres, and we came across the line, and we improved our time. We're now up to 18th place, so we're going to get eliminated here in Q1. Now, this is an in-lap for me. You notice the time is very close to the end of Q1 here, but you see the track's really dried out, and I'm starting to think about dry tyres. I tried to go flat through this right-hander. That didn't work. We've spun here. And with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, it's quite critical to get back to the pit lane, especially if the track dries out, because the line does seem pretty dry. So now we went into the pits, we come back out. There's a minute 35 now on the clock. We get round the lap here. We're going to come across the line with about 5 seconds to go. So we just get across the line for our timed lap. You can see Grosjean, he sets in the fastest lap as he's the first across the line. We're the last across the line. So we really do have an advantage here. And we should be able to put in a lap here at the end of Q1 as we come right left through this little chicane. And now back down the second gear for this right-hander. And now through this right-hander here as well, turn 6. Trying to keep the foot in as much as possible for the best exit and momentum on the run to turn 8. Open the DRS now and just think about where you're going to brake here for turn 8. Looking for the 50 meter board, just actually the start of the curb. Throw the car in, back down the third gear for turn 9. Trying to get on the power. And now another important exit here to get the momentum to the sweeping right-hander. And hopefully we don't spin here. It's easy work in the dry. And now for this great corner here, this next right-hander here, just throw the car in and hope it sticks. Back down the fourth gear, short shift to fifth on the power. Use all the track. Back to third here. Trying to find the power here through turn 12 on the exit. And now on the run, right, swing around to the right, and now back down to the left. Back to fourth gear, going in pretty deep out. Now trying to get back down the second gear for turn 15, the final corner. And trying to get on the power as soon as possible for the best exit. As now the run to the line, and it's a decent lap. Where's that going to place us here in Q1? 20th place. So disappointing result. I thought we should have done better than that considering last car on track. We've been outqualified by our teammate here today, which is disappointing. We only beat the 2 Williams cars, who are quite a way off the pace. But we were in the 1:30s. We were nowhere near it, half a second off Hubert. So that's by far my worst qualifying session for the year, I believe. But anyway, apart from Baku.
Welcome along then to France, host of the world-famous Tour de France. But we're not talking two wheels today, we're talking four, in a country widely thought of as giving birth to the art of motor racing back in the late 1800s. We've come a long way since then, and you're about to find out how far. It's time for the French Grand Prix. The Circuit Paul Ricard then, a 3.6-mile track, 25 miles east of Marseille. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, with the main overtaking chance expected going into turn 8. Top speeds today should be around 205 miles per hour. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, all trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you know, you got your own race to run, I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Perez, Stroll, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, and Daniel Kvyat. Norris, Sainz, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Gasly, Vettel, Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, and Roman Grosjean. Hubert, the captain, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
I agree, Jeff. Let's aim for another top 10 finish, but we've made it very difficult for ourselves here today, starting from 20th place on the grid. So, you know, we've got a lot of work to do. One-stop strategy here today. You could do a two-stop, but it's probably from 20th on the grid. We're probably just not going to be able to make up that kind of ground here today. So, one stop is the way to go here today, and we'll see what we can do from back here. The goal is to score points, but that's going to be very difficult from 20th on the grid. But we'll see how the race unfolds and if it works out for us here today. So anyway, here we go. 5 red lights to start this French Grand Prix here at Circuit Paul Ricard is about to come on. It's going to be interesting. It's our teammates' home race here today, Antoine Hubert. What can we do from 20th on the grid? 5 red lights, revs here in France. And it's go for Paul Ricard Racing. And a decent start by ourselves here. And we get a good launch. We're pulling alongside our teammate now. And we got Grosjean ahead. Where do we brake for turn 1? We just go to the outside here and we find the way around the outside of Grosjean. And other cars, a bit of contact there. You can hear but we're through into 16th place, so great start up, 4 places already. We got Sebastian Vettel in front of us now. What can we do about Sebastian Vettel? We're going to go down the inside of him. We are going down the inside of Vettel. That'd be brave to get ahead of Vettel. He's copped a grid penalty. He's back in the pack, and we slide past the German driver, so we move into 15th place here. But you can just see off the exit, Vettel is all over the back. We haven't made the best exit compared to Giovinazzi. Vettel right in our slipstream. We're going to go to the defensive. Vettel goes to the outside, Ocon to the inside, so we lose 2 places in the straight there. And can Vettel hang it around the outside of Esteban Ocon? He can. And now we're going to open up the corner and really try to get back at Ocon here. We use overtake mode. We're getting a good boost there with the overtake mode, and we're through ahead on Ocon. Turn it off, and you can see we lose our momentum. Ocon still side by side, 2 wide here as we now come into the right-hander here as best we can. We stick him out. And we hold on to 16th place here. So, decent opening lap here. 4 places. And now we're just going to settle into this Grand Prix on the medium tyre. And just try not fall back too far from this pack. And try and stay as close as we can. You got Vettel ahead on the medium tyre as well. I think it's a simple strategy choice for everyone today to go one-stop strategy. Ourselves... So a simple strategy here today around France. Moving to lap 4, you can see we've got DRS on Vettel, but we can't do anything with it. We're way too far back. He's making a move on Antonio Giovinazzi here into turn 8, and now through 9 he makes it stick as well, so well done Vettel, really outside. Probably should expect him to do that though in the Ferrari, and he needs to make up a lot of ground here. Vettel hasn't had the best start to his Grand Prix, as now lap number 5, and we're chasing after Giovinazzi now. We open the DRS on him, he's starting to fall back from Vettel. We're not under pressure from Ocon, he isn't in our DRS, but he's not threatening us at the minute, so maybe the best form of defence here is to attack Giovinazzi, and we look like we have the pace compared to the Italian driver. And now here on lap 7 of this Grand Prix, and we're going to get very close to the back of Giovinazzi, so we could be looking to make a run here at him in the DRS on this time around. As you can see, Vettel already on the back of the McLaren just ahead, as we now trying to just trying not to lose the car here, just trying to stay as close as possible to the back of Giovinazzi, and we now move into 8th gear, and we're gaining, we're closing all the time. We're not closing by enough though. We're going to move to the inside here, we're going to go late on the brakes and really through the car in there, and we make it the move stick, no contact, and we move into 8th, is that 8th place? I can't really tell here on the screen, but Giovinazzi now holding off Ocon. We've pulled a slight gap over them too. Ocon slipped through for a moment, but Giovinazzi got back past, as we're trying to close down the gap to Sebastian Vettel here. And yet we are currently running in 6th after a few drivers have made their pit stops. But now Nicholas Latifi out of the Grand Prix. So disappointment for Williams. Latifi probably wasn't going to make an impact on this race, however, but a safety car has been deployed. So Latifi has made an impact on this race actually by causing a safety car. As we're going to come into the pit lane, we're going to put on the hard tyres to go to the end of the race, and it looks like a lot of the other drivers are switching up to a 2-stop strategy, which I thought about, but I thought, nah, we'll just take our hard tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. So I'm sticking with the strategy, but a lot of drivers changing strategy. A lot of people pitting. It's a big advantage for those who are pitting under the yellow flag here, as some drivers did pit before the yellow, the ones that were on the soft compound tyre. And you can see coming out of the pit lane, there goes Kvyat, and Lance Stroll's going to be very close as we're coming on exit. That's the one thing about the French GP pit lane exit, it can be a bit of a squeeze. We just about stay ahead though, as now end of lap 11, so lap 12 we're going to have the safety car restart here, and hopefully our tyres are a little bit more up to temperature than what they were in Spain on the hards, as it's racing again here. We're currently in 10th place, but we're under pressure immediately from Lando Norris, and all the other drivers on either mediums or softs. I'm the only driver, it seems, on the hard tyre, so we're a lot slower right off the bat here. So Lando getting very close to the back. He's going to go down the inside. Very aggressive move from Lando Norris, and he kind of just needed to make it stick so he could get on with the business, because we have been very slow in this opening lap here, and you can see our tyres just haven't fired up yet on the hard compounded tyre, and very slow exit as well. So despite being in overtake mode, Richard Mix using all the energy and engine power I've got down there, Ocon breezes past us, and we now drop back to 16th place here. So yeah, bit of a frustrating stage of this Grand Prix here, just constantly losing position. We run a bit deep here in the turn 15, and Raikkonen, it looks like, was pressuring me anyway to go down the inside into turn 15. Actually, that's Giovinazzi, sorry, but he gets it done on the run to turn 1. So yeah, just not sure how to deal with this stage of the Grand Prix, because we just don't have pace. Like, DRS hasn't even been enabled yet, and cars are just straying past me. So these hard tyres are clearly not working well at the minute, but we're just going to give it a couple of laps and hopefully it will pay off. At this point of the when I was actually driving, I was very frustrated, just thinking I've made the wrong call here, and I was very slow, and I was really concerned here. You got Kevin Magnussen now overtaking us without the DRS quite easily, so in his Ferrari powered car. So lap 16 now, you can see Hubert behind, and he's actually going to peel off into the pits. He couldn't get past me, so same car, and he couldn't get the job done on me. I maybe could have let him go, but I didn't, because he just never really challenged me. But you can see everybody comes into the pits. We're going to come out side by side with Valtteri Bottas here. And I do leave him space on the outside, and he just drives straight around the outside, holds the line, holds it for the inside here again. So this is the fight for the lead, technically the Grand Prix, but Bottas, look at the power of that Mercedes. And he pulls ahead and retakes the lead, and this is critical for Bottas because he's out in open air. He didn't get held up behind me, and everybody's going to get past me. I'm on track in second place because we are going to the end of the Grand Prix, but the likely chance of us finishing on a podium today is very unlikely. Leclerc has caught us very quickly indeed here as we now start lap 19, 8 laps to go here in this Grand Prix, and Leclerc is going to go down the inside with the DRS. But you can see I've started to set a green sector, so I'm starting to get more comfortable with the car and these tyres, and I'm starting to produce my best pace of the Grand Prix, which is encouraging signs here. Unfortunately, it's still quite slow compared to these guys, but we don't expect to be fighting these guys. It's just the way the strategy's worked out here today. By them two stopping, they've had to re-overtake me, which I think this has been a good strategy call, because those midfield guys are the guys we're fighting with against today. So we could be on for a really good result here as we get the DRS off Leclerc. We're able to stay within a second, and that helps us maintain our spot ahead of Hamilton. And then as soon as I realised I could do that, you can see this is our best lap of the Grand Prix so far here on lap 20. I realised if I just am able to, when I get overtaken, stay within the DRS, just pull myself along a little bit, it can really benefit me. Hamilton here goes to the outside, which I thought was strange, but we're going to let him go around the outside here. Well, not let him, but I guess I tried to defend, but there's not much I could really do about it there. And Hamilton gets through for third place. Now, can he hunt down Charles Leclerc for second place? We know that Mercedes car is better, but is he able to do it? We're just a bit unsure about that at the minute, as now we see that we're able to hold in the DRS here and pull ourselves along, as Albon is now behind us here. And you can see coming into turn 12 here, I go a little bit wide, lock up. I left Albon room, and he, in his Red Bull, using his downforce and chassis advantage rather than because he doesn't have the engine advantage to get past it. Then Verstappen saw an opportunity as well, and he actually makes a bit of contact with us there through turn 14. We hold him off through 15. But now we've got DRS here on Albon. We're going to stick with him on the run to turn 1 and actually gain a little bit of time on him down the straight. And now if we can just hold the DRS on him, this is really helping us with our fight with a guy like Carlos Sainz, who is about 3 or 4 seconds behind this battle, and he's closing in on me. But as long as we can just pull ourselves along a little bit, it's going to help us towards the end of the race. As you can see, personal best first sector here, and we've got the DRS on Albon. Albon is pulling away, but we're able to stay within that 1 second and have DRS. As now Verstappen behind, he actually he can't challenge us here. As we're now moving to the end of lap 22, you can see we're having a good middle sector, and I was trying to keep within the DRS of Albon because that's where the detection point is. So I went deep. Sorry, excuse me. I went deep into the corner, and I did get DRS. We almost gave up a spot to Verstappen. Lost a lot of time there though, which is unfortunate. The circuit's getting quite dark here with 3 laps to go. Verstappen has been passed by Vettel, and now Vettel's trying to get past us into turn 1. He's unable to do so, but he gets the crisscross back on the run to turn 3. Now down the inside, easy move for Sebastian Vettel. Very late on the brakes for Vettel, but he gets past into 5th place. We drop back to 6th, and now we're going to get some DRS off him here, and we're just trying to stick with these guys. But now Verstappen's the only one left to get through on us here, and he's very close. He's had a great exit out of turn 6 and 7, so now he's got the run. He breezes past on the straight, so Max Verstappen moves into 6th, drops us to 7th. But now I think this is where we can realistically finish in this Grand Prix. We've got 2.5 laps to go to hold on. We've got a 2-second advantage over Carlos Sainz as we now move to the last lap. Sainz on the hard tyres as well, but his hard tyres are about 5-6 laps younger, so he's got better tyre condition here, and you know, we're just looking to get to the end of the Grand Prix. I'm using all the track here. It's a personal best first sector, so we are pushing as hard as we possibly can. And Sainz has got a really good run here, though, onto the straight here. As now we go defensive to the inside, but look at the run he's got with his Renault-powered McLaren, and he breezes past as he's ahead by a couple car lengths before we even get to the brake zone. So that's really disappointing, and I tried my best here on the exit, but just didn't have the grip on the rear tyres to get anywhere near him. So that's the end of the Grand Prix. We're going to come across the line to finish 8th place here today, which is a result better than I expected after you considering where we started today. So yeah, great result for us today and the team to score 4 points.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
Excellent performance at the Grand Prix. I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. So let's review the updated driver standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to the captain. They did a great job at getting the most out of their tyres without losing pace, something that's a very handy skill to have in modern-day Formula One.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from the owner-drivers team this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, Ants, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So that was the French Grand Prix here today, guys. Great result for us, finishing 8th place. Valtteri Bottas wins from Charles Leclerc, second, with Lewis Hamilton rounding out the podium. But 4 points, especially after where we qualified, is a good result. Hubert, once again, finishing nowhere near the points today. So, yeah, we gained a little bit of points here on AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo, which is always a positive. So hopefully we can carry this into the next few Grand Prix and just slowly just chipping away at this points gap that they have currently over us in the driver's standings. I'm not too worried about where I'm finishing right now in the driver's standings, just because we know it's very difficult to compete in the drivers. I'm more worried about the constructor's standings. Unfortunately, we just don't have. We've been the only one scoring the points, which is okay. But we move ahead of AlphaTauri for today. As you can see here from the acclaim levels, we have got both drivers up to level 7. The team as an overall up to level 9. Level 10 is a critical level because I believe once we get to level 10, we get another sponsor.
And we're making good profit against our running costs.
So there you go. We're making good profit against our running cost. Something about sponsor renewal as well. I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to look into that. A couple of days though before another Grand Prix, which will be the Austrian, so we've got a back-to-back here as well. So that's exciting as we now. Yeah, I wasn't sure what he was talking about the sponsors here, but maybe he was just talking about that level 10 acclaim level unlocking our third, our fourth sponsor, our third secondary sponsor kind of thing deal. But yeah, good episode today to get 4 points here in France, an unexpected 4 points. Hopefully we can get some developments on the car. I was looking at this marketing thing, and this is a really important one. This is going to help boost the claim level. It costs $5 million though, which is really unfortunate. And what I didn't realise at the time, but obviously it might say it here now when we go back to the main menu. Also, we've got some resource obviously from that Grand Prix, and we have that durability upgrade that has failed. I could invest into that. We could go chassis. It's just depending on how we feel at this stage, but because we do lack slightly in the chassis department, we've moved ahead of Haas with our recent upgrade on the chassis of the car. So, but we're still lacking in this area of the car, and there you go. We make a major purchase on the chassis department, and we'll try and fix this durability upgrade. Now, we haven't got enough points, it looks like, at the minute, so hopefully we can fix that at a later date. But yeah, Now I've brought that marketing perk, but unfortunately now it's saying I've got low cash for signing a second driver, so that will be dealt with after the Austrian Grand Prix, I believe. But I think Antoine Hubert's contract is up for a renewal, and I didn't realise that. As you can have a look there, we've got a few failed bits here actually, which is not a good sign going into Austria, which is a little bit unfortunate. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for plenty more F1 2020 My Team content. And until the next video for the Austrian Grand Prix, I'll see you then. Till then, goodbye.